Today, we're going to be doing a 30-minute invigorating, heart-opening back bend practice. You will need 2 blocks and a strap and a yoga mat. If you don't have those things, it's totally fine to find something that you can substitute to use instead, such as 2 books. And instead of a yoga mat, use a carpet or a rug. Whatever you have accessible to you is great. We're going to be starting in Virasana or Hero's Pose. So place a block between your ankles and sit with your sits bones on top of the blocks. And if you need to place 2 blocks there to feel a little bit more comfortable, do so. With your knees touching, sits bones and hips on the blocks. A nice long, tall, straight back. Take a big deep breath in here. Place one hand on your heart and one hand on your stomach to get centered. Get grounded on the mat. Now is a great time if you want to set an intention for the class. Something that you would like. My suggestion or offering for intention is just to show up for yourself, to accept yourself in every emotion and limitation and exceeded expectation. Just show up for yourself with loving kindness and compassion. Take a breath in and exhale. Gently place your hands back down on your legs. Now take a little stretch to your right hand side. So place your left hand by your right knee and your right hand behind your bottom, either on the ground or on the block, and gently twist to your right. Inhale to grow long through your spine. As you exhale, rotate a little bit further. Come back to center and we'll do the other side. So this time your right hand to your left knee, your left hand behind yourself. Inhale to grow tall. Exhale, rotate a little bit further. Come back to center and slowly roll your shoulders out. We're going to start rolling up our shoulder joints here. Roll them backwards and then forwards. Now inhale your right arm up. Gently move your right elbow back with your left hand. And if you can, bring your left hand behind your back to meet your right hand. If it doesn't join there, this is where you use your strap to lengthen your arms, so to speak, so that your hands can join together. And look, if they never meet, that's also totally fine. So roll your shoulders out and we're going to switch sides. So this time your left hand comes up and over your back, bringing your right hand to help move your left elbow. And then bring your hands to touch behind your back and hold on to each other. And if they don't, use the strap to extend your arms just a little bit further, kind of like go-go gadget arms. Take a breath in here, remembering that it's all about the breath at the end of the day. Now interlace your fingers and push them in front of you. Take a deep breath in here. Keep pushing your fingers away from your body, away, and then above your head. Keep moving them as if you're pushing them up to the sky. Now change the interlacing of your fingers. Feels a little bit weird, and push it away from you as if it were pushing the wall away from you. Keep pushing a little further. Keep pushing and then all the way up to the ceiling with that strange interlace. Push your hands up towards the ceiling as if you're pushing the ceiling away from you. Keep push, and let it all go. Now we're going to do reverse namaste. And if that's not accessible to you, you can also do it with 2 fists behind your back. So bring your hands behind your back, lining them up with your spine, pressing your hands into each other, rolling your shoulders back and down, but also seeing if at the same time you can knit your ribs together while moving your shoulders down your back and spreading across your elbows. Keep finding all of those movements in your body. See if you can sit up just a little bit taller and then let it all go, shake it all out. Now, move the block out from underneath your bottom and come down to all fours. Your hands underneath your elbows, your knees underneath your hips. We're going to start some cat-cows here. This is one of my favorite moves, to be honest with you. It's great just to get your spine warmed up, especially great at the start of the day. So as you inhale, draw your navel to your spine to the ceiling. Exhale, drop your spine and belly to the floor and your head up. Inhale. Exhale, navel to spine to ceiling. Inhale, release everything down to the floor. Now see how slowly you can do it, moving only one vertebrae at a time. See if you can find the individual undulations of your spine as you move each vertebrae at a time, extending your inhales and exhales as long as possible. Slowly walk your feet to the top of the mat and roll yourself to stand up, one vertebrae at a time, with your head being the very last thing to come up. Welcome to your first Tadasana of the day. Bring your hands to heart center. We're going to do 3 sun salutations. Inhale your arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Bend your knees as much as you need here and place your hands on the ground. It's your first forward fold of the day, so be really kind to yourself. I've got a deep bend in my knees. Inhale to half forward fold and then step your right leg back and your left leg back. Lower down into chaturanga. Flip your toes and over to upward facing dog. Then back, downward facing dog. And again, bend your knees here as much as you need. First downward dog of the day, so I like to pedal it out, get some nice movement in my body. Spread your legs almost as wide as the mat so that you have some opening in your hips here. Now start to find a little bit of stillness in your downward dog before we put our right foot forward, left foot forward, and then bend over your knees, keeping that nice deep bend in your knees. Then half forward fold, full forward fold, and reverse swan dive to come back up. Hands at heart center. Let's go again. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half forward fold. Press your hands and feet down, left foot back, right foot back. Chaturanga. Inhale to upward facing dog. Exhale, flip your toes, back to downward dog. Press through your hands here, lift your hips, and then right foot forward, left foot forward, forward fold. Inhale, half forward fold. Exhale, all the way up, reverse swan dive, hands at heart center. Take an inhale, hands all the way up again, forward fold, hands to the ground. Exhale, half forward fold. Then step back, right leg, left leg, chaturanga. Inhale to upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take 3 breaths here. Lift your hips to the sky. See if you can, as you lift your hips to the sky, press your heels down, press your hands down, and lengthen your spine just a little bit further. Inhale, right foot forward, left foot forward. Inhale, half fold. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise your hands up and place them at heart center. take a moment here. Now hinge at your hips and bend your knees as much as you need as you fold forward, coming into a forward fold. Remember to bend your knees. We're interlacing our hands behind our back, letting our hands fold forward towards the ground. Use a strap here if your hands don't reach each other. Remember, Go-Go Gadget arms are always available to you with a strap. Sway your arms from side to side. And then we're going to flip the grip. Again, that super awkward grip. And you can sway your arms from side to side, allowing gravity to help pull your hands and arms down towards the ground. Let that go and come to stand up again. Hands at heart center. Now fold forward again, Uttanasana, half forward fold. Step back with your right leg. Left leg, knees to the ground, and now we're moving in towards a puppy dog pose. So it's almost like you're doing a child's pose, except that your hips are going to be over your knees. So spread your knees hip width apart or further. Your toes might be close or touching, and lean your body forward, aiming to have your chest and your chin on the ground, stretching your fingers forward as far as they will go. This is already quite a deep back bend for the start of the class. So continue to breathe here. Then let it all out and come to lay on your belly, moving your hips from side to side, releasing that work we've done in our spine. Now bring your elbows underneath your shoulders. Place your hands on the ground in front of you and point down through your toes as if you were a sphinx. Keep your back nice and long. As you inhale to your belly, draw your navel to your spine, supporting your back. Let it all go and wiggle your hips from side to side. Next, cactus your arms in front of you, and we're going to do some undulations of your spine here in a modified Sphinx pose. So place your hands at the top corners of the mat, and as you inhale, come up, exhale, roll back down to the ground. Inhale, come up, exhale, roll back down to the ground. Lay with your forehead on top of your hands. Taking a little breath in here to relax and let go of that work we've done on our spine. Now bring your hands down by either side of your legs, preparing for locust pose. Draw your legs together and lift them up off the mat. As you inhale, bring your shoulders down your back and lift your shoulders up off the mat. Then exhale and let it all go. Now come up to all fours and slowly walk towards the top of your mat. We will be doing 3 sun salutation C's. Slowly come to stand up, your head being the last thing to come up. Hands at heart center. Inhale, hands up. Swan dive, fold forward over your legs. Inhale, half forward fold. Exhale, right leg back. Right knee down. Inhale, arms to come up. Anjayanasana. Hands down either side of your left foot. Left foot steps back into downward facing dog. Lift your hips high here. Press your hands down, your heels down. Lengthen your spine. Move forward into plank pose. Back into downward dog. Got you there. Lift your hips high again and right foot forward in between your hands. This time your left knee down, back into low lunge. Place your hands down either side of your right foot. Right foot goes back into downward facing dog here. Take another breath. And then left foot comes forward, right foot forward, forward fold, half forward fold. And then reverse swan dive to come all the way up, hands to heart center. Take an inhale. 2 more times. Inhale, hands all the way up. Exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana. Half forward fold, Ardha Uttanasana. Hands on either side, right foot back, left foot back into downward facing dog. Come forward to chaturanga, all the way up to upward facing dog, back to downward facing dog. Lift your hips here, right leg comes forward, left knee drops, hands up to low lunge, hands either side of your right foot back, chaturanga, upward facing dog here, hips up and back to downward facing dog, and then left foot comes forward, right knee goes down, low lunge, hands either side of your left foot, chaturanga, upward facing dog, back to downward facing dog. Slowly walk your feet forward so that you're folding over your legs at the top of the mat. Inhale, half forward fold. Exhale, come all the way up, hands to heart center. One more time. Inhale, hands go up. Hands all the way down to the ground, either side of your feet. Half forward fold. And then you can either step or hop back, right leg back, left leg back. Chaturanga, all the way to upward facing dog. Flip your toes and back to downward facing dog. Right foot comes forward in between your hands. Left knee down, up to low lunge. Hands to the ground. Right leg back. Chaturanga, upward facing dog, pressing down through your feet. Push through your hands. Back to downward dog. Left foot comes forward in between your hands. Right knee down. Inhale up to low lunge. Hands down either side of your feet. Left leg back. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Press through your hands and feet. Lift your hips up to downward facing dog. Then slowly walk your hands back up to the top of the mat. Inhale, half forward fold. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reverse swan dive all the way up. Hands to heart center. Take a few breaths here, perhaps reconnecting with the intention you set for this practice. On your next inhale, raise your hands up above your head. Exhale and fold forward over your legs. Then step back with your right leg, your left leg, and bend your knees, lift your hips up into downward facing dog. So lift your right leg high, bend your knee, and then flip it over, and we're going into fallen triangle. So bend at your hips, bend at your back, and press down through your left hand and left foot, and then come back to center, downward dog. Lifting your hips high, pressing down through your hands and your feet, finding a long spine. This time, lift your left leg, bend at your knee, and roll it over, pressing through your right hand and your right heel, extending out through your left arm as far as you can go, then rolling back over to downward facing dog. Lifting your hips, lengthening your spine. Now come down to child's pose with your toes to touch, your knees as far apart as the mat. Take a deep breath in here and let go of that work that you've just done. All right, coming up to sit, we are going to get started on some of those juicy back bends. I'll need you to take your blocks to the back end of your mat, where we will be using them in just a little bit. Now come down to lay on your back, and we are going to get started with some bridge pose, some Setu Bandha Sarvangasana. Bring your feet up towards your bottom. Take an inhale here. Exhale, let it all go. Grip the outside edges of your mat with your hands, and on your next inhale, lift your hips to the sky as you rip the mat apart with your hands. Make sure that your knees are over your ankles and that your knees are not splaying out to the side or tapping each other in the center. Take another inhale here, and as you exhale, gently lower your hips to the ground. Then you can sway your knees from either side to release your hips. Now we're going to work with the block. this is going to help you give you the alignment of keeping your knees in the correct position. If you have wider hips, you can put it on a wider setting, but bring your heels in towards your hips, in towards your bottom. Grab the outside edges of your mat, thinking again that you're going to be ripping the outside of the mat together. As you inhale, raise your chest and your hips to the sky, and you can either continue ripping the outside edges of the mat apart or interlace your hands and press down through your hands and down through your heels as you squeeze the block with your legs. On your exhale, gently lower your hips to the ground. And then here you can remove the block and gently sway your legs from side to side, releasing that work and tension you've just done in your hips. Notice the difference when you have a block in between your legs and when you don't, and the sensation in your thighs. So we're going to use the block again. This time, grab the block, pop it back between your thighs, move your heels in towards your bottom. You can either grab the outside edges of your mat, or again, you can interlace your hands underneath your hips. On your inhale, lift your hips high, roll your shoulders underneath your back here. Keep lifting your hips high and squeezing that block between your thighs. Press down through your hands, press down through your shoulders, press down through the soles of your feet as you lift your hips even higher. On your exhale, lower your hips and release the block away. Wiggle your hips and knees and legs from side to side. Take an inhale here and gently roll to one side and come to sit up. We're moving towards camel pose now. So I want you to take one of your blocks and place it in between your feet. I want your knees hip width apart, standing on your knees, your hips and shoulders directly above your knees. Here, take a deep breath in, exhale it all out. Think about drawing your hip bones down, and then use your hands to continue to move your chest forwards and up, as if you're moving it towards the ceiling more and more until you can slowly reach your hands back to your heels. If they don't reach your heels, don't worry. Here, think about moving your chest towards the ceiling more than moving your chest backwards. Engage your core and lift yourself gently out of it. Come to sit back on that block in Virasana. Take an inhale here. We're now going to do some flowing camel pose. So draw your hands from your right hand side of your body across to your left. Left hand on left heel in a half camel pose. Then sweeping across to your right hand side. Right hand, right heel, half camel pose. Back to left hand, left heel. Half camel pose, right hand, right heel, half camel pose. Now come back to center, sit with your bottom on the block and wiggle it all out. Let go of all that work you've just done. Take a big inhale. Exhale it all out. Come back up. And we're going to do one last camel pose. So draw your hips down, lift your chest up, use your hands to continue to move your rib cage as if you're moving your rib cage towards the sky, broadening and opening your rib cage with your hands. Reach back and find your heels if that's in your practice, and if not, no worries, it's not meant to be in your practice today. Remember to enjoy it. So take an inhale here. If you can, bring hands to heart center, and then exhale, let it all go. Whatever your camel pose looks like is exactly how it's supposed to look like. Trying to find some more compassion for yourself within today's practice. So move the block out from underneath your bottom. Bring your legs out in front of you. And we are going to use the block to slowly lower down to the ground. 1, 2, 3, and we're there. Now place the block underneath your hips on the medium height. And I want it to be almost where your pockets join, just underneath your waistband. Knees over your hips. Lay your hands down on the ground. And we're just going to take a restorative bridge pose here. So you can relax, allowing that block to be able to support you, supporting you in this gentle back bend. If it feels nicer for your knees to knock in together here, that's totally fine. We're starting to cool down the body and relax and absorb all of that heart-opening, back-bending work that we have just done. You can bring your hands to your hips and then slowly release the block and lower your hips down to the ground. Windshield wiper your knees from side to side. Remember here to connect with your breath on your inhale and exhale. Here, bring your left foot over your right thigh and bring your right thigh in towards your chest, using your hands to leverage your thigh into your chest for a figure 4 pose. Stretching the backs of our legs, stretching our low spine from all that back bending work that we've just done. Keep drawing your left toes towards your left knee to protect your left knee. Gently lower your legs to the ground and switch sides. So right foot underneath left knee, bringing your left thigh towards your stomach here. Continue to breathe and connect with your breath. Inhale. And on your exhale, can you bring your thigh a little closer in towards your stomach? Making sure to draw your right toes towards your right knee. Allowing all that work we've done to be absorbed into our body. Release your feet to the ground. This time, lengthen your right leg and extend your left knee over the right side of your body for a laying spinal twist. If it's accessible to you here, drop your gaze to the left hand side. Trying to keep your hips stacked, one on top of the other, finding a twist in your spine here, wringing out all your organs. Now come back to center. Then bring your right knee over your left leg, extending your right arm out to the side. Looking out over your right arm if possible, trying to keep your hips stacked on top of each other, finding a twist in your back. Take a deep inhale here. Exhale, let it all go. Then gently come back to center. Your knees can knock from side to side. Sway your feet from side to side. Separate your feet the mat width apart as you do that this time. Create a little more opening in your hips. Then draw your knees into your chest. Hold on to your feet if that's accessible and find some movement in happy baby, so potentially rolling from side to side. And look, if happy baby is not accessible, remember we're here for love and acceptance of our body, so hold on to your calves or your thighs, whatever is available to you today. Just finding some movement in happy baby that feels good for you and your low back. Then extend your legs out in front of you, and we will be taking our final resting pose for the day, Savasana. Let your feet splay out to either side. Perhaps place one hand on your belly, one hand on your chest for a couple of breaths. If that doesn't feel right to you, you can gently place your hands down by your side, palm facing up. And let go of all the work that you have done so far today that has brought you to this place here on your mat. You have worked so hard, and now it is time to let all of that soak into your body. You have no more work to do. Let the ground hold you and support you. Follow your breath. Follow your natural breath without trying to change anything, just feeling its inhale and exhale. Backbending and heart-opening practices can really bring up emotions inside of us that we weren't expecting to connect with. So after today's class, take some time. If you have longer to stay in Savasana, stay here. But if not, remember to be gentle to yourself throughout the rest of the day. Maybe this evening, run yourself a bath, go to bed a little early, or spend some time nurturing yourself. As you feel ready, bring your knees up and roll to one side. Take a breath here on that side, using your arm as a pillow. Use your other arm to push yourself up and come up to sit. It is always such a pleasure sharing this practice with you, and I look forward to seeing you again next time.